Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 5 of Let's Play Factorio. And I've been getting my ass handed to me, sort of. Been clearing out the map a bit, and going around and clearing out some biters around the base, and they're actually pretty damn aggressive. But thankfully, small biters do not hurt. If they get any bigger, I am doomed. But so far, they've been pretty small. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to sneak up here. This is one of my tactics. We go up here, and then we place a turret here, and we place ammo in it and help kill them, while I also take out their bases at the same time. And that way, right now, the small biters, I'm using the steel armor. I did upgrade recently, which is awesome. Steel armor has insane resilience against small biters. It's once they use the medium biters, then I think my butt's going to get handed to me. But for now, it's amazing. And there you go. We've been collecting up their alien juices here. Nothing tastier than aliens, and once in a while it's good to save. I mean, nothing wrong with that. This game is about trying to get in there, and I don't think a lot of people play hardcore, but there are people who do play hardcore though, which is the idea is if you die, that's it. That's it. You quit. The game is designed in a sense that when you do die, it is like game over, but there isn't like. It doesn't like auto-spawn you, for example, to a recheck point or something like that. But it has load game, etc. So there are people who do go for the hardcore feel. You could probably play this game hardcore and do pretty well. You just have to take more precautions. That's really the idea about it. Know more about the game. Like, I never knew that steel armor would literally do almost invulnerable against biters. That's something I never knew, and now I do because I've been learning this. So that's kind of cool. The faster I tech up into the armor, the faster I can deal with the biters around my base, for example, without having to worry about it too much. Normally I would have to, make a tank or something to try to fight them off, but that's kind of the cool thing. So wow, look at this oil. This is an oil field that we want to get to. Since we've kind of buried our oil, thanks to Mad for burying it on us, we're kind of working on getting to this oil field. And so here, I'm going to fill this up again. Ah, go, 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 go. We'll help it a bit. There we go. That one's going to be too far, to be honest. Probably better bring this one closer. There you go. We just bring it like right here and then plop it down. It's sort of like my wingman in a way. It works really well at low levels. Not so much at high levels, but high levels you're running around and one-shotting them in a way. So at low levels this is an amazing little tactic, having your turret as your wingman. You tank, it kills the little guys. Thank you, wingman. Sadly, my ammo's running out, but it helps. And I'm putting these telephone poles here, and I'm going to show you this. Some people consider it cheating, some don't. It's really up to you and how you want to play. In a way, I don't think it's cheating because it is kind of good to know where things are to protect yourself. But I guess for some people, they don't want to see this. If you go to the map, there's a bunch of debug commands in the game, which you can actually hit F4 and bring them up. And F5 is basic, F6 is detailed, F7 is full, and the always is basically what you're seeing now. So show FPS, for example, always. There's one here called, and I just want to show you this, and you kind of get an understanding why I place the telephone poles, just to give you a visual indicator as a new player. You got all these debugging options, which are great. There's so many cool little features on here. For example, you can see active chunks, which basically anything you're in, plus anything that might be actively happening with biters, etc. So, when biters migrate on the map, you'll actually see them. Like, let's say there's a base right here, you'll actually see them kind of move over here to the thing. Right here, that is, I think, my radar system. That's the radar slowly scanning the world, and I think that's what that one is, the weird outside ones. But anyways, you'll see a chunk load here. And there might be some biters, and you'll see them kind of move over here kind of thing. And they're usually about 3 chunks away, and that's them migrating to another base, or making a new base. But that wasn't what I was going to show you. What I wanted to show you is... Here you go. It's like expand or something. I'm not really good at finding things in here. I'm pretty new to this. I don't really touch this as much, but rail network, circuit, energy block, active, pollution values. This just gives you like numbers and things. Active chunks. Okay, here it is. Enemy expansion candidate chunks. So basically what this tells you is that enemies will spawn here, or like, sorry, not spawn there, but you remember when I say they migrate? So let's just say these guys all of a sudden send the troops over to here to set up a new base, for example. That's sort of how it works. Well, this here right now is marked for them to be able to expand or live at. So they might send a group of the guys here and then they'll set up a base here. So when I put a telephone pole down, for example, I call them telephone poles, I know they're technically not telephone poles, they will stop doing that. So let me show you that quickly here. We'll just go over here. And, well, this one's going to be a bad example because it's by water. But you'll see when I put the telephone pole, it'll disappear. So let's say we go over here and fight these biters and kill them, etc. There we go. There you go. So, you'll already notice that there was already some missing there, and now there isn't. Even the bases themselves prevent other bases from just taking in. So the idea is what you can do is you can place this telephone pole, and it will take a chunk out and make it disappear. So you're actually able to visualize and see that in the game. Now, it's up to you if you consider that a cheat or not. This is the full debug, by the way, if you just want to see what your map looks like. This is your pollution. So the purple, your pollution always keeps chunks not loaded. Apparently all your chunks are always loaded, but they keep them quote-unquote active, meaning that everything's in an active flux, basically. Your pollution will load and unload active state of the chunks themselves. That's why it does that. And you can see myself here. It's kind of weird when the player's around. It's kind of weird like that. But yeah, that's just some of the debugging. I just wanted to show you guys that. Let's figure out how to turn this off. Oh, always. There we go. And that is an explanation on how that works and why biters will show up near your bases, etc. So hopefully that'll help some people who are having questions or wonders on that. So I just like I've been doing, I just go around randomly placing these. I mean, to be honest, it's I like it not being able to really see them, because the idea for me is that I'll place these randomly here and there, and I'm probably placing them too close or maybe too far apart. But when they do migrate here, when I beat their base and fight them off, then I'll just clean up that and place them down at that point. So for me, I guess I like that little extra challenge that, you know, if I miss a spot, well, I'm going to find out eventually, because I'll just take your base out when they do that. Now, I do not know if they migrate in pollution. That's a good question. I have no clue. Let's just say if they decide to come from this base to here, and they found this a good place to live. I have no clue if they'll actually set a base here, if there's pollution, or if they smell pollution, like the second they hit this border of pollution, if they come attack you. I'm pretty sure, I'm not a positive, but I'm pretty sure they will attack you, because we had a little issue for trying to figure out why I had random biters way outside my pollution area trying to attack me, and what we think was happening was they were trying to settle in an area where my pollution was. That was one of their little expansion type, you know, places. And when they tried to do that, they got greeted with pollution. I think pollution is like the nastiest thing. They don't want to live in pollution. They don't want pollution to exist. It's just such a nasty, you know, thing that they don't enjoy. So what they ended up doing was, instead of you know, settling a home there, they wanted to find out the source of the pollution, and then they went to the base and then tried to attack. And I think that's how it does. Somebody says they do settle in pollution areas, but I don't know. I find it, because they were way past their amount of chunks that they go to settle, so I have a feeling, to be honest, that they found the pollution and they came in there. Huh. Apparently they said they've seen them form in pollution areas, so I don't know. Maybe they have a chance to attack, I don't know. Because for an example, what I can give you guys, like what was happening is, their base was like, let's say way over here, right? And they settle like a few chunks away. They don't go from here to all the way here. They don't settle that far. But they went from here, and let's say my pollution was out here, kind of thing, like just out here. And let's say they wanted to settle here. It was odd because instead they came all the way around to attack me instead. So apparently they've been settling a dark pollution for them. So I don't know. There's a lot of... Not everyone knows exactly everything with the game, unfortunately. Like, you know, there's the things that devs have said. There's some people who've, you know, tried to figure out and tested a lot of stuff. But I guess sometimes there's stuff, you know, like little math or, you know, probabilities or chances of something else happening, etc. So who knows, like, the full extent to everything, but... I guess it depends on if it's your lucky day or not. So, we've been doing steel over here, and we've been just hand making it just for fun. And we'll, of course, expand on that later. I didn't really care right now. I also made a bunch of stone brick. Basically, I have a little buffer here where it buffers the stone brick here, and then once it's done, it continues making walls. So this is so we can make steel furnaces, and this is going to increase our production. You can see that we're starting to get a bit of a buffer issue. The buffer issue here is actually we're not using enough copper. Okay, no big deal there. Our buffer issue over here, on the other hand, there is no buffer really. This is just plain and simple. We're not producing enough ore, and we need to get our ore up and running, and you know, blah blah blah. No big deal there. So we're gonna increase our production on everything with these steel furnaces. The steel furnaces basically use, as far as we can tell, they use the same amount of energy consumption. They say per kilowatt. So are they double the energy consumption? I can't really tell you. It says right here that it's using 3.6 pollution, yet these use 1.8, and apparently pollution's tied to energy usage. So I guess the action it produces is still, it's doubled even though it says the same. I'm not quite sure. Always couldn't figure out why the math was like that in this game, but there you go. Oh, my butt's in the way. I was like, what? So there you go. Now it gets to the point where we're going to probably end up having to have faster conveyors just to keep up. Actually, they might keep up. Yeah, I think they keep up. And I don't mean conveyors, I meant inserters. So here's some for copper now. Now the copper, well, it's being buffered and blah blah blah, and that's a different story. We're not using much copper, so no big deal there. Now for the iron, we can increase our production quite a bit here, which is the nice part. And we just need iron plates. Funny thing, we need more iron. So thankfully, we got a bunch of iron in here. So now we should be pretty safe from biters for a while. I don't know, I almost feel like it's cheating. Like, I know what I was doing there to prevent biters from coming. Everyone does that, as far as I know, or most people. I'm sure some people out there will be like, oh, I don't do that. But the fact is, a lot of people do it. But at the same time, it's kind of sad because you can, you know, cause a pretty fortified base over time. But for us, it's not going to be early game where our challenge is going to come from biters. Our challenge is going to come late game, when we start dealing with biters in new areas, like that we're expanding, for example. And I think that's where our excitement's going to come from that. So, I mean, this is kind of a waste, but I'm going to put it there to just clip that last thing there. Might as well grab it, you know. Actually, let's spin this around. Can I spin this? Yeah. I'm just going to grab that. Just to grab it so we get it nice and neat over time. I guess we should put this on the bell, huh? This will cause a lot of pollution. Like you'll start seeing my pollution automatically start slowly expanding over here, and then it'll start expanding, and you know, it is pollution. I don't know if there's downwinds or anything. It seems like pollution just expands outwards. It'd be kind of cool if there was like a wind or something. You know, there's always a northerly wind, so pollution always goes south. That actually would work in my favor, because we're kind of like, there looks like a lake here, maybe a bit of lake there. Looks like biters are right here, right at the gathering edge there, though. Might be worth checking that out soon. Yeah, so with our iron production here, this will help us a lot. Unfortunately, it's getting to the point where this is not helping. These iron chests are becoming a bog to our system. So we have a few ways that we can handle this. One is through research, which is called equalizer chests, which I think is worth it. But we also have to do other research, so that'll be later on, where we could put 3 chests here and then have these pushed over a bit more, and it'll equalize it, and then we can pull them, 2 of them, into that, which would probably work really, really well. But since we don't really have that right now, and we know this is slowing down quite a bit, now you can see it's stacking up. The higher it goes, and the more empty this is, you know you're not doing something right. It's time to get rid of this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So I kind of want to still do the chest buffering idea, but I think now what we're going to do is we're going to go and change the buffering area. So we're going to put one here, and I think we're going to put one here maybe. We're going to put... actually, that will work. We're going to put this all the way up here, because we kind of have to trick the belt. And then we're going to put this here, and actually we should probably be using iron chests anyways now. And we can make steel chests, actually. Steel chests are pretty cheap anyways. And then we're going to go ahead and grab these off like this, and grab like this. And this will be our new buffering system. Damn it, telephone poles. And then we'll go ahead and we'll curve this one over like this. And we'll curve this one like this. So we'll let the splitter still do its splitting properly. But this should fix our buffering and our, you know, the speed and everything. And that'll be our temporary fix for now. Because I just like the buffering there, so I think that's just one good way of buffering. And you know you're doing okay once this line picks up. If you're too lazy to wait, you can always go like this and just go up and down so it spills it all. There you go. There you go. Uh-oh. Looks like one isn't enough. It's getting to the point where it's actually overproducing now. That's pretty good. That's a good thing, you know. Yep, it's overproducing. No big deal. We go to part 2 on fixing that. We just don't do a buffer. We still do a buffer, but we do a different type of buffer. We have a stock buffer, which is just for my own use. And then we just bring this together and do that. There we go. There we go. And that's how we do it. And then what we do is we just have an iron chest or steel chest on the side here. And then we just take some from that. And we'll have it fill up over time. Since it's slow enough, it'll help out, but... doesn't really matter, as long as you can keep your production flowing and you do whatever you want, to be honest. And actually, now I think about it, do I use iron on both sides right now? Yeah, I do. That's a full flow, whatever. We can also go ahead and twist this like this. It won't probably make much of a difference though, but... so sadly, this is a good thing. We're doing good now. We're bringing too much iron in. Didn't think that would be a day, but yeah, it happened. We could start increasing some of our production lines. Like we can start saying, okay, we'll keep, you know, a lot more in this chest, and you know, we can increase this. Unfortunately, this is not working due to something else. Interesting. We have a break in the system, and we're going to figure out right now what it is. Aha! We have had this broken. This is explaining why our green production hasn't been working for a bit there. I had come by and replaced all this with fast inserters, just because I wanted to increase production when needed. And it looks like I accidentally flipped that backwards, so we've been out of production for a while. That explains a lot now. That's awesome. So we're back, you know, full speed here. This is running constantly, so we probably should upgrade that to the next factory. This explains why nothing was moving for the longest time. Like, it shouldn't take this long to make this much green stuff. Of course, I derped up. So if this stops and pauses in between, that's going good. And if you want to increase it a bit more, like, let's just say this is, you know, you could do this too. That's the nice thing with this design, you can kind of like increase it a bit more. Oh, look at this. This is going slow. Here you go. There we go. But the buffering will help that, you know, clean that up. And then for this, we can increase the buffer to... I'm going to buffer it right to a full row now, because I really do use conveyor belts quite often. And it lets you come by and pick up a bunch without you having to, you know, deal with it, so that's nice. And there we go. Now we're using a lot of iron, so yeah, of course, right now iron's going to empty out insanely amount. But that's just because we have crap ton of iron going down being used right now. It also gets to see our iron supply. It gives us an idea of how good it is or whatnot. I haven't automated this yet. I'll do that later. But now you can see how well our supply line is here, and it gives you an idea, like, what can we do with it, you know? So we can't really do much more than this besides increase the entire production even more. So we're at pretty much its peak right now. Which, when I do that, what I'll end up doing is I'll move this back. So this will have to get gutted just a bit down here somewhere, just around in here. And then we'll move this line all the way down. But right now we're working on a lot of buffers, so our iron production is actually probably just fine. It's only that we're, you know, filling up those chests of buffering that's causing us having supply issues right now. So once this fills up, for example, this will all start getting lots of supplies, etc., etc., and then we'll be fine. And there we go. Our gun turret finally damage upgraded. Here we were wondering what the hell happened, and, well, of course, we did a bit of a derp up. So we can work on oil soon, which is going to be important for a lot of things. A lot of things run on oil. We can work on the next belts. The next belts is actually probably a good one to do, just because we can start putting these on corners that start slowing down, though we shouldn't have too much of a slowdown yet, but it happens. You got engines, you got the new power. Lab efficiency makes those laboratories faster. They're good because I like to research everything, but in the same sense, you might as well just place 10 more laboratories rather than do this. They don't actually do efficiency, like cut down the amount of resources, all speed-based, nothing like, you know, efficiency of like not wasting so much, you know. This here, item stacks, these are so good. These are amazing, actually. This works really, really well. when you start removing a bunch of items from one factory to another factory, for example, or a chest to a chest. You basically can go 2, 3, 4, and I think the top one is 5. So when you're taking an inserter or and grabbing from a chest or a factory, you can grab 5 at a time, and this is when buffers like chest buffers play a massive role in the game, which will help quite a bit. So yeah, basically now we just sit back, really keep researching, expand our operations a bit more, but right now it's more about just research, and yeah, we'll continue on next time. Probably in the next episode we'll probably start looking into maybe doing something with oil. Maybe I'm thinking that will be probably our next, you know, task. The tank, I would like to get the tank out and try it. There's a couple of new tanks in here. We have a mod that has tanks, but here it is. Normal tank is actually going to require the blue juice, so we're kind of a little far away from that. Explosive shells, cannon shells. Oh, it apparently adds explosive shells to the mix now. That's kind of cool. So these are more like your piercing shells like we've seen before, and this is like more of an explosive, like an AoE. Boom! Really good for probably more mob fights and stuff like that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and we'll see you soon.